Hello, everyone. This is Mr. Spearson. We're going to be going over a video today regarding Inventor drawing templates, both for an A series and B series. This is for your fourth quarter projects regarding 3D modeling and printing within MakerBot and Inventor. So this video is going to be going over step 4, how to basically set up a title block and set it up within Inventor itself. Before we get started, what I want to try to do is I want you guys to reference your OneNote. I want you to go to your fourth quarter project. Depending on the year that you're watching this, whether it's catapult, bridges, gravity car, or mousetrap cars, go to the templates that I'm looking for, which is going to be a couple files we're going to download. So the first one we're going to download is the catapult. So I'm going to select it once, right click it, go File, Save As. Now, these folders you guys do not have, so you need to make sure that you do make them. But remember, everything must be saved in OneDrive. So I'm going to click on OneDrive. I'm going to go right to drafting. This folder should have already been made. 3D printing should have already been made. And now the new one you're going to make is going to be called fourth quarter projects fourth quarter dash project. Inside there should be one that's going to be called catapult. Now, if you're a returning student, depending on how many years you've done fourth quarter projects, you could have up to 4 of these folders, and this would be the 4th year of rotation. Inside Catapult, you're going to make another one called Inventor. Inside Inventor, there will be one called Drawings and Parts. Now remember, you're making all of these folders. Inside Drawings, you're going to have one more called Templates. Now, what you're going to see there is the file that we're trying to save here, and it's Catapult, and I'm going to go right over the top of the other one. Hit save. Yes. Now I'm going to take my logo and I'm going to save it in the exact same spot because right now we're making a template for both the A and B series. Select it once. Right click it, save as. Now, I don't have to go back through drafting in the OneDrive because if I look up here and I drop down my box, my previous locations, you're going to notice that I have gone through the school district. I am in OneDrive. I am in drafting, 3D printing, and so on and so on. So remember, fourth quarter projects, catapult, inventor, drawings, templates. Here it is. I'm going to go right over the top of it. All right. Now that I've gotten that saved, I'm also going to save 2 other files, and these are going to be references to what I'm going to be doing throughout this video. So you're going to go to the 28th of April, and you're going to click on the A series and B series. Now, whether you save these in your template, okay, or you personally just have them in download so you can reference back to them, I put them in the templates folder so I can always reference them later on. And that's going to be the A and B series, just like you see here, A and B. This is the drawing template. This is what we are doing today. All right, now that I have that said and done with, my next task is to open up Inventor. Now that I'm in Inventor, what we're going to be making today is pretty much a title block with a border for your A series, which is going to be pretty much the series that goes over the entire project. Both a cover page, it has the BOMs, it has exploded views, it has a bunch of things to it. Your B series is nothing but parts. So it's what parts make this project one unit. With that being said, what I want to do is, now that I'm in Inventor, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go File, New, and I'm going to hit Drawing. Once you have this open, the very first thing we want to do is we want to save this in the appropriate spot, which is going to be File, Save As. And we're going to then go to our OneDrive. Drafting. I'm going to move quick because I don't want to repeat myself. Now we're here again. What I want to do is I want to make sure that I'm saving this file as the correct file type. Right now, this is being saved as a DWG. That is not what we want. We want an IDW file. Now, as you can tell, I've done this multiple times. So we're going to call this A Series 3. Why it's 3? Because I've redone this video 3 times. If I can get it to work. 3. All right. Now that I have it saved, okay. Now we're going to get to the nitty-gritty. All right, we're going to try to make this video fairly fast. So if I move a little bit quicker, please pause and rewind and re-listen to it, or raise your hand and ask for help. Understand that Inventor does one main purpose. It 3D models, but it piggybacks off of that 3D modeling, and it makes that 3D model have the capabilities of being a drawing. So like AutoCAD, where you just do 2D CAD, you can also, AutoCAD does do 3D also, but it's a little more complex and it doesn't have the usability, user friendliness to it like Inventor does, because Inventor will take a model and then export your model into being like the different views, the front, the right, the top, the isometric, and it can alter the view and rotate the object and then begin dimensioning it. All right, with that being said, here we are. This is my blank canvas. What I want to do right away is I want to change the name of this, and I'm going to go to Edit Sheet, and my name is going to be called Catapult. Once it's called Catapult, I want to change the paper size, which is this black space here, to an A, because that's pretty much our paper that we print on, which is going to make up our drawing. Okay, there it is. Now what I also want to do is I want to delete two things with underneath this actual drawing, and we're going to get rid of the border, and we're going to get rid of the title block. Now that I'm done with that, I am going to go under my drawing resource tab, and I'm going to expand this down, and I'm going to see multiple other folders here. I can change the drawing sheet, meaning the paper size, which I don't need to. I can add a new border or make a new border. I can add a new title block or make a new title block, and I can edit the actual sketches that will be implemented later on. So I'm going to make a border. So I'm going to go ahead and select border, and I'm going to right click, and I'm going to say define a new border. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to, before I go any further, I'm going to import one of those files that we saved into our template. So I'm going to click Manage. I'm going to go to Style Editor. And when this screen pops up, here it is. Oops. I am then going to import that Catapult STLMXY, which is this file right here. So this file is now being imported into that drawing template, and it's going to give us all our parameters on our dim styles. It's the leaders, it's the text, it's the dimension, it's all that fun stuff. And you're going to notice when I hit open, right next to this default standard, you're going to see something pop up called Catapult. Boom. Now I'm going to make that active by selecting it once, right-clicking it, and say active. And I'm going to save and close. I'm going to go back to Sketch, and now I'm going to begin drawing my border. My border is going to be drawn with a 10.5 width and an 1/8 height. Now that I have it drawn, I want to center this border, okay, by moving it, by selecting everything. Notice when I do a green select, I select everything that this green box touches. If I do a red, whatever it encompasses. So notice it's not going to highlight this line or that line, but it will highlight this line because I encompassed it. If I did it this way, nothing would be selected other than that point, which I don't need. So just so you understand the selection process. So I'm going to select it. I'm going to move this box, grab a base point, and I'm just going to do this with my own eye because I don't really care. Because we're just going to kind of dink around with it and find what works and what looks nice. I'm going to zoom in there. All right there. Look at that. Look how nice and even it is for the most part. I mean, I could get really analytical and I could move it over a little bit more, but I'm not going to put a lot of effort into it because my printing margins gives me a 1/16 of an inch. All right. Now what I want to do is I want to make sure that this line right here is the correct layer. So what I do is I go under Annotate, and I'm going to go under my Format tab, and I'm going to click my layer property and make it a border. Now notice it's black now, and it has the right line weight. But notice these ones didn't get selected. So what should I have done? Selected them all or encompassed them all, then changed them all at once. Sorry for that. Okay. All right. So here's my 10.5. Here's my 8. I'm going to finish this sketch, and now you're going to notice it's going to disappear. Oh, I got to name it first. So let's call it HHS border. Boom. With that being said, my next plan is to, sorry. I'm going to import it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select it now under borders, and I'm going to insert it and watch it pop up on the screen. Boom. So our border is now implemented. Now we need to make a title block. So underneath these title blocks, these aren't any that I want because we're going to make one. And remember, this is the A series, correct? So I'm going to select it, right click it, and I'm going to define a new title block. Now this is where it's going to get fun here. We're going to go ahead and change the layer properties. Oh, sorry. We're going to go to sketch, draw something, but before we draw it, we're going to make sure that we are staying in a border. Go back to our sketch, and we're going to draw this thing to be 1 inch wide, 8 inches tall. Okay, once we have that drawn, I am then going to make sure that I draw a line now. And I'm just going to quickly do this. And then we can talk about it, where I got my measurements from. Now I'm just, oops, I'm kind of typing fast here because I just want to, I don't want to waste our time in this video. Because the last video I did, I had completed it. I paused the video. And when I came back, I didn't, something happened. And it didn't record the screen. So I spent that next hour or next 45 minutes talking, and it didn't record anything that I was doing. So that's why I'm making video 3. All right, this stuff's off to the side. Now I got these measurements from that PDF that we talked about earlier, which is in here. Now I'm moving quick through this because we've talked about it enough. This is the A series, B series. This is these two things here. Now, when I have them open, which I do already, you're going to notice I came down an inch, I came 3.5. Now I came 3/8, and there's 4 boxes, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I need to come an inch, which totals to 8 inches, as in everything completed. All right, so now that I have that done, I've drawn my border. I need to make sure that these purple lines are a border. So I'm going to go back and change them. There it is. We're good to go. And now we have an image to put in now. So I'm going to go sketch. Now the thing that you got to worry about when you do an image, when you select an image, you've got to draw the box the image is going to fit in. If you don't, you just click, the image will just import as a default size it is. And we don't like that because we want it to fit inside this. And I'm going to try to get it as close and as uniform as I possibly can. Oh, come on now. Oh, my goodness. Like I got Parkinson's. Okay. I'm going to hurry up and get through to this. All right, there's my template. There it is. Now, what I want to do now is I want to make sure that when I put anything else in, everything's locked and constrained with one another, and a dimension constrains something. But the thing that you got to understand is when I start moving any of these lines, if I grab this line and move it, notice it came outside of there and it didn't stay in connected, and it moved this whole border. So what I want to do is I want to lock stuff. So what I do is I go under my constraint, and I'm going to look for a vertical constraint, and I'm going to select this line, and remembering it's selecting the middle node, and I'm going to make sure that it's locked to the middle node. And I'm going to do it again, middle to middle, and so on and so on. Now notice that I'm doing it from the previous one because it's going to work as a chain. When one measurement changes, they all will possibly change. Now when I select on it and I move it, just that line weight will change. But notice its center origin, it doesn't move. So Control Z, let's undo what we just did. I like what we have. This other box is for your own personal logo that you're going to do yourself. So just keep that in mind. What I want to do now is I want to start putting some text in here. So I'm going to move fairly quick, but just bear with me. You can do this and slow this down if you choose. All right, and I'm just going to say here, I'm just going to type in some gibberish. Because I forgot to do my iProperties. So we're going to finish it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back to this PDF, and there's some iProperties here that need to be put in. Team name, component parts, engineering, approved engineer, and so on and so on. So how we do these iProperties is it's essentially, it is a quick add, let's say, okay, to changing a title block without having to go to actual editing the title block. So an iProperty could be multiple different things. It could be the size of an object. It could be the cubic foot of an object. It could be like who made the file. It just has a bunch of properties to it. But what we're going to do is custom iProperties. And this is the list of custom iProperties that we're going to be doing. So to come back to our template that we're making, I'm going to right click this screen. And if you don't have this down here, you can always select the actual name of the file in your browser. And if you don't have a browser, of course, call me over, but you can always add it back by doing a user face and adding the navigation bar or the model browser, which is this here. Okay, so here we are, iProperties, here we are. Then you're going to go over here and you're going to hit custom, and now we're going to start typing in what we want. So this first one is going to be called team name. And the team name, of course, is going to depend on what team you're a part of and what you guys think of. So I'm going to type in Bengals because that's just, that's the school we're going to. Now this one's going to be called component dash part, meaning what is this component and what is this part's name. And we're just going to call it, I don't know, A series, because this is a actually let's just call it template. Boom. Now we're going to name a new one, and this new one is going to be called, sorry, I don't have anything in front of me. Here we go. This new one's going to be called the engineer, and that's going to be, I don't know, John Doe. Let's go like that. John Doe. Then it's going to be the approved. Let's go AP. I think it's ARP. APR dot engineer, and that's going to be Mr. Spearson. That's me. Then we're going to do scale, and the scale we don't know the scale, so I'm just going to do NA, not available. And then we're going to do the revision, and the revision as of right now, you haven't done any revision, so it's 0. Then we're going to do the sheet number, meaning what sheet number is this, and we're just going to say this is the first one. And the next one is going to be the index. The index is actually going to define what page this is, and this is our A series. So we're just going to say AO to start it. And whenever you do series, you always start out with 0. So remember that. Last one is going to be the total number of pages. Bingo. And that's going to be, I don't know, 10. You'll have to count your own eventually, but there they are. Now I'm going to hit apply. I'm going to close. I'm going to go back to this here, and I'm going to highlight this section because this section needs to be our team name. So what we're going to do is we're going to go underneath our type, and we're going to change it to the custom iProperties. And if this isn't showing up, it's because you didn't make any iProperties yet, but we just finished doing that. So here's our custom iProperties. We're going to make this as a current model, and we're going to look for team name, and I'm going to insert it. Now notice it highlighted, and we have this greater and less than symbols here, which identify this as a inputted field, meaning an iProperty. This one here is going to be pretty much the same principles, except for now it's going to be component and part, and insert it. You got to insert it. If you don't insert it, it's not going to pop up. Now, with that being said, I want to change a couple things. So this line needs to be bolded. This line needs to be bolded. Okay. These two lines need to be a height of 0.094. Oops. Sometimes when you hit enter, it changes it. This needs to be a 1/4 inch in height. And this here needs to be an 1/8 inch in height, which I think it is already. Boom. Now notice, currently right now, it just says team name and component and part, and it doesn't tell me what our inputted fields are, which is team name, it should say Bengals, wherever Bengals, and then the component and part is going to be template. So if I hit close and I finish this sketch, you're going to see it pop up. So let's just name this, and let's call this one HHS title block. Boom. Now, I'm sorry, it didn't input it, but we're going to input it now. So remember, it's right here under our drawing resource tab. So I'm going to select it once, and I'm going to lock it, or I'm sorry, insert it. And you're going to notice that it locks itself to this bottom right hand, this corner here on the right side. So Inventor defaults itself to locking every title block that we make over here in our resource tab to always lock in the lower right hand corner. But we made this title block to be 8 inches tall, 1 inch wide, so it perfectly locks to the bottom right hand corner and it aligns perfectly with the 8-inch height. All right, so notice it says Bengals and template. Now if I came through here and I changed the iProperties, and let's just say I change template and I say, hey, I want it to say, I don't know, let's go A series. When I hit apply, it's going to change. Now that becomes very resourceful because when we get to doing multiple revisions to things, it's easy to just open up a drawing or stare at a drawing here and change your iProperties just like this by going here without even having to physically open the drawing itself. So it makes it really, really nice. With that being said, we want to make sure that this gets changed. So we got to go back into the title block and we've got to alter it. So we're going to go under the resource tab. We're going to go find our HHS title block and we're going to edit it again. And now that we have it edited, I want to put this perfectly lined up in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do another constraint. So I'm going to do a vertical constraint with my center axis, okay, to the center axis of here. Now I need to dimension this thing to being exactly 1.75, and I'm getting these numbers from the actual PDF that we've downloaded off of OneNote. Now that I have it there, okay, what I need to make sure that I do is I rotate this object to be perfectly lined up. So I'm going to shrink this thing. Actually, we won't shrink it. I'm going to rotate it now. So I have it selected. I'm going to click rotate. I'm going to click the center point being the center axis. Okay. I'm going to say, yes, we don't care. And I'm going to lock it to that top point. Boom. Okay. And I'm going to hit done. Now I'm going to hit finish sketch. You're going to notice it locks itself into place and it stays within our paper because we drew it inside that title block within the actual template here, within this border here. All right, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to hurry up and put in these other ones here and show you how I lock constraint stuff, and then we should be done with this thing in the next 5 to 10 minutes. So bear with me as I move fairly quick. All right, next one is going to be engineer. And I want to make sure I am a top left justification or center justification. This here is going to have a height of a 1/16 of an inch, okay? And it's going to be bolded. And I'm going to lock it in. Now that I have it there, I want to give it a dimension of a 1/16 inch offset, okay, with a 1/16 inch offset. When I have that done, I'm going to go Control C, Control V, and I'm literally just going to lock them down into here. Control C, Control V, and I'm just going to throw them into place because we're going to alter and change them here in just a second. And honestly, I'm probably just going to do this last one here because we're going to change some other things here that I forgot to do. All right, so what I want to do now is I want to do a justification constraint by doing a vertical, saying like, hey, this needs to be locked with that at all times. This needs to be locked with that, that with this with that. and this becomes very user-friendly. Now, I will say you've got to put in your height. If you don't, it doesn't work because there is no center justification that you could put in there yet because there's nothing that it can lock itself to. So there's your 16ths all the way down. Oops. All right. Now, what I want to do is I want to change this because this is an imported value. So I want to select this and I want to highlight it and I want to go to an inputted value of a custom property, which we made, and this is going to be the engineer. I'm going to insert it. I'm going to make sure that it stays bolded, or it's not bolded anymore. It's an 1/8 inch in height, okay? And I say okay to it. Now it's really big. We don't really care, but I want to make sure I'm a center left-hand justification. And now I'm going to give it a dimension of an 1/8 inch. And you can see it lock itself into place. Now, when I hit finish, let's see how it looks. John Doe. Now, the question is an 1/8 inch too big? It might be. I think if I look back at my title block here, they're supposed to be 0.094 is the inputted iProperties for these things here. So this is all 0.94 here, except for the index, which is going to be an 1/8 inch. All right, so let's go back and let's fix that. And now that we've made one of them, we should be able to copy the others. So 0.094, okay? And then let's go top justification. No, I think center was really nice. Let's find out what I did here. Oh, I did center. So I did center 1/8 inch up, and it's a 16th. Okay, cool. That's easy enough. So we're a 16th here. We should be a 16th here. Nope, that was an 1/8. I'm sorry. That is an 1/8. Or was it a 16th? No, it's an 1/8. That was a 16th. So this is an 1/8. Okay, so we did it right. Sorry for my confusion, amigos. So I'm going to lock this one with that one so it doesn't move on us, which we already did. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go Control-C, Control-C, Control-V, and I'm going to put it into its place. Now remember, we're going to change these, but right now we're just putting them into place. So that way it becomes easier for us to move them around. Oops. There it is. Okay. So real quick, let's justification all these, or constraint these, I'm sorry. Awesome. Now let's give it our measurements of an 1/8 inch. Okay. Now I'm going to change the inputted values here, selecting it and just changing it. This is going to be the approved engineer. Okay. I'm going to stretch it a little bit so that way it doesn't stack on itself. Oops, Control-Z that. There it is. This one here. Oh, I guess we didn't change the names of these yet. This is going to be the APR, approved engineer. Oops. This one here is going to be the scale. This is going to be the revision. Or revisions. This here is the total number of sheets, or just sheet number. And this is just going to be of. All right, there's that. Now let's go back and let's fix these. So this is a scale. This is visions. So engineer, approved engineer, scale, revisions, and then this one here, let's change this one. So this is going to be an index. The size of it is going to be 1/8 of an inch, and it's going to be a center middle justification. Now I want to lock this into place by doing a center justification. I keep saying justification, but it's actually constraint. I'm sorry. I want to make sure it's in the center of this 1 inch. So that's why it's going to be 0.5. That being said, I'm going to look at this to make sure that I'm doing these correct. So I came down a quarter, came over a quarter, down 1/8. And this one here is the same. So these two should lock into place with the same text size. Okay. So we're going to go here. This is going to be sheet number. Insert, and it's a center middle justification. And this one's going to be the total sheet size. The total number of pages. I'm sorry. There it is. Now that I got it, I'm going to move them into place. And remember, this is 1/8 inch off. Or was it? It was a quarter over, I'm sorry. And it was 1/8 inch down. And I'm going to do a constraint from this one to that one. And that has already got a constraint. Let's make sure this has a dimension here. I think this should be 1/8 also. Yeah, they're constrained with that too. So I'm going to do a horizontal constraint with this, with that. And I don't need to do a vertical because I already did, and it should freak out on me if I've done it correctly. And it does. Perfect. Awesome. There it is. Okay, look at that. Now, the only thing I'm missing is an actual logo. You need to make that yourself. And now I'm going to hit finish. We're going to save it. Check it out. Now, it says John Doe because we need to change our actual iProperties. Actually, I'm sorry. I didn't change this one. Index. Boom. Now I hit finish. It should pop up right. There it is. So we have our engineer, which is going to be you. The approved engineer, which is your educator. The scale, which we don't know scale yet because we haven't put anything. We don't know the revisions. We know that this is the beginning, so this is going to be page 1 of apparently 10 pages, and this is AO. This is an A series template, but that would be the part, and this would be your logo. This is done. So what I want to do is I just want to hit save. Now the cool part is to make an actual size B, it's even simpler. So you've done all the hard work. All we need to do now is do a file save as and call this B series, and we're going to call this one number 3 also, just to match. And what I want to do now is I want to add one more iProperty, and that iProperty is going to be total grams here. So back to here, iProperties. I'm moving quick because I don't want to waste your time. So we're going to say total grams. Or I guess we're going to call it gram/cost. How about that? Or we'll say, let's just say material, capitalize it because we're OCD, /cost. Now, we don't know that yet, so that's where we're going to put NA. And all I'm going to do now is, because this is B series, this is the new template, I'm going to go to my B series here, and notice all we do is we add this in here and we move the of over. So this here has a size, if I'm not mistaken, of 3/16 up, 1/2 inch over. Simple enough, right? And then we change the justification of this one to being on the right-hand side with the same measurements, 1/8 and 1/8. I think that's what we did. We might have altered it. Either way, let's do it. So I'm going to get into our title block. I'm going to come into here. I'm going to right-click this after selecting it once, and I'm going to show all the constraints, and I'm going to delete both of these. Actually, I'm going to delete the vertical one because I don't want it to lock with anything. So now that I move it, oops, I'm going to delete them both. Why not? So let's show the constraints. Oh, looks like we got rid of them. So let's move it. See, that one's still constrained because this measurement here. So let's draw this. We're coming over half an inch, coming down all the way. Let's make these with the right layer property. Now let's give it a dimension of 3/16. There it is. Now what I want to do is let's delete this real quick because this is going to get hard to see here. I'm going to shrink this so it's not taking up a lot of space, and I'm going to put it here. I'm going to change the justification to being a center. I'm going to move it up, and I'm going to lock it being vertically or horizontally constrained with the center of this. And I'm going to do the same thing here with there. Actually, first, let's move this a little bit closer. And we're going to make that an 1/8 inch also. And then make sure it's horizontally constrained with the other one. Boom. There it is. Now let's add our last one in here, which is going to be here. And this is going to be an inputted value under custom. And it's going to be the total material cost. Boom. Let's select it all. Let's make it a 1/16 in size. And it's a center middle justification. We're going to say OK to it. And now we're going to lock this thing into place. So I'm going to say, hey, that goes with this. And this goes with that. I'm going to finish. Save it. Boom. Now it's NA right now because we don't know the size of it yet. So I'm going to go ahead and hit save. And congratulations, you are done. What you need to do now is simply take this text here and you need to essentially, let's go Control A, Control C. Notice this stuff here is a 1/4 inch and this stuff here is an 1/8 of an inch. But you're going to come over to your A and B series. You're going to make a new text box and you're going to put it in there. Actually, scratch that. Let's not even do that. This is good enough for me. All right, I hope this helps everyone. It was a lot shorter of a video than the last one. The last one went for 1.5 hours, and hopefully this one, cross your fingers, works. Have a great night, everyone.